them are serving God in other provinces and other capacities. I'm not going to mention all of you, but I'm just going to extrapolate few of you. I see Petson and Lesley. Thank you very much, guys. Let's appreciate them. I saw Lawrence. Lawrence, are you there? There is Lawrence. He used to be our favorite drummer. Thank you, all of you who are visiting us and who used to be here and now are serving God elsewhere. We have other people who are in our midst. Pastor Mando and Sister Glennis House Bayadanki. Ons waardeer julle met die Here seën. Thank you very much for coming. And they are with Brother Michael and Wendy Dewey. Thank you very much that you are. And the special people dear to us, Elle and Laura Goodrich. They are the AOG USA missionaries. Thank you very much. And how can we forget Jan and his dear wife, Linda. Jan and Linda Bayadanke, thank you very much. Very important to us. You used to lead the worship team, right? Before we welcome you guys, we have our regional leader, Pastor Jim and Sister Jenny Mockel. I'm going to ask Jim to just come and say a few words on this particular day. Thank you, Jim.
I first met Pastor Peter Watt 41 years ago. I shook his hand. I was still unsaved, and he was standing at the door of the church in Fishhook. My wife had taken me to church. She was a believer, and there I met Peter. And today, 41 years later, I've been in ministry for many years, and been such a privilege to know you, to be associated with you. I need to say just one or two things about Peter. He's a wise man. Whenever I've needed wisdom, one of the people that I could go to, and I always received wisdom from him. He's a gentleman. He's a very encouraging person. So often in my ministry, he has come to me and inspired me and encouraged me. So grateful for that. The thing that impresses me mostly about him is that he's finished the race. It's not so difficult to start. It's far more difficult to finish. You finished well, left a legacy. So proud of it. I want to say this to Pastor Elijah and his team. I'm so proud of what you people did with this honoring service. I think it's a fantastic effort. And one of the things that I value so much, and maybe that's because I'm an old man, I so value recognition and respect and honor. Wonderful to have been associated with you. Wish you all the best. God bless you.
Praise God. Pastor Jim and Jenny are our regional leaders here in the northern region. Thank you very much, Jim. Now, we are going to call Pastor Peter and his wife, Lesley. They are going to tell us how they feel on this special day to honor them. Let's welcome them, please. Praise God.
Thank you so much. We're not too sure what to say, but I'll let Lesley struggle first.
Yeah, this is all quite overwhelming. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you all. I just wish I had that long blonde hair still. It is so lovely to see you all. Pretoria for me has always been a place of miracles. We have been here, or we were here for 14 years, and we've been in the ministry for 50 years. And the first miracle for me was how God changed my heart to come here. I didn't want to come to Pretoria, not because of the church, but because I just had bad feelings about Pretoria. It stood for all kinds of things that I didn't agree with, and it just had a bad feeling. And God worked in my heart, and it was a hard job, I think, because I really was not happy. But He changed my heart, and we came here. The second miracle for me was coming to this little chapel next door. There was nothing here. There was a big tree standing here and a house. And that little church, when we arrived here the first time, it just looked so sad. It was very dirty outside. It was dusty. The people just seemed, I don't know, poor and miserable. The lively part was Jan, who led the worship. He cheered everybody up. Thank you, Jan, you and Linda. You were great encouragements to both Peter and me, and I thank you for that. Linda did the Sunday school. Yeah. But every week, there was a new miracle. Every week, there were a few more people that came to that little chapel. And week after week, we saw more and more people arriving. People would be driving past in taxis and would feel that they had to get off the taxi and come into this building and would get saved and serve the Lord here. So the church just grew and grew week after week with no special programs, no special building, no special people. It wasn't us, it was just God who had favor on this place. I think He looked down from heaven and He saw that little dusty church and He thought, let me bless them for a bit. And He did, until it got to a stage where the children had to move out of the church and we had them on the veranda. People were sitting under the tree that was here. Whether it was sunny or whether it was raining, people came and people served. The next miracle was when we moved over to the school over the road to knock this place down or knock the house down. And we moved over there and that school hall was packed. There was no bother with people going over to the school hall. And there, I think what impacted me most was the fact that we were people from all nationalities, all cultures, all colors, all sharing together. And we became a family. And people sacrificed. People used to have to carry chairs and sound systems and all kinds of things every week, take it all to school, take it all back somewhere else. And it was just amazing. And that for a few years. And during that time, I must say, I was very worried about my husband. Because, as you said, he was the architect and the builder and the project manager and organizing the council and the Gau train. Remember the Gau train that was going to come right through this building? And all that kind of thing. Over years, we struggled, but we had the most wonderful partners. And I just thank God for American missionaries, for Canadian missionaries, for Swedish missionaries, for Australians who actually came to lay our paving out here. There were so many helpers. And the Hartbeespoort Assembly put huge effort into helping us with this building. And we are thankful for all of them. We're very grateful. The next miracle, of course, was coming into this building and watching people grow. Alice and Eric, I saw them pregnant twice. Boyega and Priscilla, a miracle baby you had, and so many people we just saw grow. And how we developed with the ladies' ministry. You know, when we first came here, there used to be a little prayer meeting in the house with, I think, about 12 people. And all of them were only there because they didn't have a job. Wow, you've done so well. Eunice, it's been wonderful how God has just blessed with the ladies' conferences and how everybody has just grown and developed. And my prayer for you all now is that God will give you each week and each day and each year a new miracle for each of you, that you will grow in God, that you will get the jobs that you need, that you will get the families that you need. This place has been a family. It's been a family for students who've had no families around. It's been a family for couples who've come from afar and haven't had local families. And that has just been a marvelous thing to see. And I must say we are very, very grateful to God that we have been able to be part of it. And this has been the cherry on the top of our cake. And we're just so grateful. Thank you so much.
She can do public speaking, you see. Thank you, Lesley. Both of us had cataract operations recently, and so she has new glasses. I'm still waiting for mine, but they gave me some temporary glasses, and I found this out about them the other day. It lights up, can you believe it? Yeah. Eh? The first time I came here, now I have to use these things so I can see you and us. One of the times that I came here was while Ron Gardner was still here. And he took me for a drive, and we stopped off in Hatfield and had coffee there. And I was just tingling with this place. I said, Ron, you're sitting on a gold mine. Do you know what can happen here? But he left. And for quite a while, this church was without a minister. And then we were sent here. And Donovan organized that as group leader. Lesley and I came here in the year 2000. And let me just say that this is our privilege. This was one of the greatest privileges of our life, to come here, to this place for which I had tingled. And this was a special moment. It became a special moment in the Cornerstone story. And such a story is never really written alone. It just did mushroom until we could not fit people into that building. And they, as Lesley said, they had to sit outside, winter and summer, rain or drought or whatever, was sitting outside and packed into the building there. Because of Emmanuel, God was with us. And he worked sovereignly. Because I used to come here every week wondering, I don't know why all those people came last week, and I'm not sure that they're going to be here again. Because I couldn't think of a reason, except a sovereign God reason that they were coming. It was like a Nehemiah story, really, where everybody's heart was moved, and many people were involved and played a part in the growth of this assembly. It was, as Lesley said, there were those miraculous conversions of the taxis going past. I mean, that people would feel, I have to get off here and get into that building and get saved. It was marvelous, wonderful. And we had to buy chairs and more chairs and more chairs again, and so on. It was in one of my visits to the States, and I was at Springfield, Missouri, and they had a special night for the old missionaries. And it was the Evans's son, who was a student there, and he read from Psalm 2, where the Lord's prayer is, or the gift to him was, I'll give you the nations for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. And I suddenly realized, I don't know a minister who hasn't prayed, give me the nations for my inheritance. Give me the nations for my inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for my possession. And I'm sure most ministers have prayed through that and said, oh, please. And I suddenly realized as this young man read this verse, I thought, but that's happened to us. Because we have, at that time, we had about 27 nations from Africa represented in this church. I thought, I couldn't go there, but they came here, praise God. And Jan always say, man, Revelation 7. This is the church of all nations standing around the throne, worshiping. Wonderful. So we had to build, and funds were needed. And I remember the times when people would dance to the front, like they came down here today for the building fund. Dance to the front. Man, those were explosive moments, and the basket would just pack up with money as we built up the funds. But funds came to us also from Nairobi. Bonnie Odoya gave us dollars. Funds came from Canada. Murray Cornelius, when we were still in the small church, Murray Cornelius said, we want to support churches that are strategically placed. And he saw to it that we got a good loan, which that has been settled, paid back, praise God, with lots of help from various Canadian churches that has been paid back. And then funds from the USA. Dan Betzer gave us $10,000. And Mike McLaughlin gave us some thousands of dollars. And then the churches that we traveled through put money into this building, and it came back here. And so we must say that the USA was behind us too. Hartbeespoort put money in, quite a lot of money, 160,000 as I remember. Plus, they finished off the hall over there at no cost to us at all. The group put in 600, I think, 600,000. And then the individuals who would come and put in money. But you know what? I'm not forgetting the women who used to organize those lunches. Those lunches for fundraising, and a lot of money came in through the lunches, where we had those fantastic lunches with food representing the various parts of Africa. It was wonderful. Thank you, ladies, played a part. But we weren't only building buildings, because what we did say, that this building is only a stepping stone to the future. You know, somebody said recently, Jesus didn't die for buildings. He died for people. And so the future is the people. All the people. Discipling classes were started. Remember Timothy, he put a lot of effort into that. And cell groups started. And the children, the first time, I mean, you watch those kids here today. What confidence. Crowds didn't scare them. The first time they did a children's ministry on the little stage in that little hall there, you could barely hear them. They were squeaking like little mice. Quiet. But the confidence grew until eventually they can do things like this in 2 weeks. I mean, what a building of life. Building people. The church is a wonderful place for rescuing people. And so there are these people, groups, children, the students. My first encounter of a visit in the tiny office that we had, that was still standing in those days, was some people came to greet me. They said, "Who comes to your church?" And I said, "Well, you know, not." They're here today, they're gone tomorrow, and they haven't got any money. I said, actually, I think the students are the greatest opportunity I've ever had in my life to minister to the future. We were helped by the missionaries, the Morrisons. You remember Gerald and Ruth Morrison? Doug and Bev Corbett put massive effort into this building. Steve and Glenda Evans put massive effort in. This couple right here came and did some help with our children's ministry right at the beginning when you first came. There were Gerald and Pat Golbeck, who put in massive effort in this church. Gary Shell and Marvelin, they came and made this their ministry. They did their ministry here in this church. And then there's Don and MJ. Have done a lot here. Ministering, preaching, and starting the school, the sewing school. Praise God. And maybe I've left people out, I don't know, but, and then the school that you've started. When we moved to the school, across the road, Lesley's mentioned the volunteers. Every weekend for, I think it was 2.5 years, the chairs out, sound system out. Every Sunday morning they'd get there very early, or they'd go on a Saturday and prepare the place. Sunday after the service, they'd pack it all away. 2.5 years, Sunday, winter, summer, whatever. They were there when we get to church in the school hall. It was ready for us. And after 2.5 years, they'd had enough of us. And remember the Sunday, Christmas time, when the toilets broke there, and we said, pick up your chairs and come here. And this building, there were still props around here, all kinds of things, and there was the dust and so on. We'd have our meeting here. And then somebody said, Pastor, we're not going back. And from that time on, we had our meetings in an unfinished building. So praise God, until we did finish it. So volunteers. And so in the midst of this time, Elijah and Eunice came, and you gave us the date. And the godly men like Boyega and more who were here, and all those men who were strength to me, and the kindness that we showed, I must thank you. This is not a story of one person. This is the story of us all, and the story of the presence of God. I thank the Lord for it, and for friends who were a strength to us, like Jim and Jenny. They were a strength. And I remember one of the biggest surprises I ever had was my 60th birthday, when they had a surprise party for me, church. As I got up to preach, this man here, Jan, he says, no, sit down, we're not finished yet. Cake came on onto the platform, and Jan led a chorus, and can you believe it? I'll never forget it. It was that song about the Ancient of Days. And I thought, what are they talking about? They're talking about me. So, friends, young people, children, we are honored, really. This was more than we could have expected, your kindness to us over the years. And what God has done, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that the story continues. Not over yet. The story continues for this church. Thank you so much for all the kind things you've said. And children, everybody on the screen, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, they deserve a standing ovation.